Hello everyone, welcome to another video by the AI Loop. Today we're going to be looking at BLEU score. Well, BLEU score is a famous evaluation metric for sequence to sequence generation tasks. That is, when you have sequence A and you plug it into a model. This model could be any model that has a sequence generation ability, and you expect a sequence as an output. BLEU score is a very famous metric and very useful in evaluating the performance of the model. So let's see how it works. So initially what we do is that I will explain it in the form of a reference and a prediction. Let's just say we have two sentences. The first one is reference. Reference is the ground truth, and let's say I'll just explain it with one sentence, and this could be averaged over all the sentences to attain the BLEU score that we need. So for a reference, let's take a sentence like a test case was added. And for the prediction, now remember that prediction is the sentence that is outputted by the model. Let's say test case written. Well, the thing is that at the end, the ultimate goal is for us to have the sentence that we want. Now that we do not actually care about the vocabulary, right? At least for most of the cases, we want to convey the meaning of whatever the output should be. And now vocabulary could be different. Like there could be a same sentence that could be conveyed through different vocabulary, and this is not addressed by BLEU. And we'll also be looking at some of the drawbacks that come with BLEU. But the way that we calculate BLEU score is that initially you have to choose a hyperparameter. Let me just write it as n, and I'll choose 1 right now, but I'll explain how that plays a role. So you choose this hyperparameter, and let's call it BLEU1 or unigram precision. So when you choose a hyperparameter like this, what you do is first you split the words into ones, like you split each word, and you have the prediction and you have the reference rate. So now what you do is you take the number of words in the denominator, that's the prediction. So that's totally 3 words. And then on the numerator, what you do is you take the number of matching. So let's just say you have this as a match and this. So the test and the case, these both words are a match in both of the sentences, right? And we're only looking at 1 word matches here because the hyperparameter is set to 1. Similarly, if the hyperparameter is set to 2, you would look at 2 matches. So let's say like this would not be a match then. The first sample would be an A test and the second sample would be a test case, but let's get on to that later. So, and next, after we look at the matches, now we know that there are 2 matches here, right? So we just write it in the the numerator, and then you get whatever that is, 0.6, I guess, something around 60, yeah, 0.6 something. And also remember that BLEU score always remains in these boundaries between 0 to 1. And one more thing to note is that BLEU score is case sensitive. Like if you have a capital A like this and a small a, a small letter, it would be considered as 2 different words. So yeah, the usual practice is that you just convert all the letters to a lowercase before actually applying the BLEU score. It kind of increases the scores that you get. Now the problem with BLEU score is that if you look at it, we're only considering the word matches, right? Like at least for this case, we're only considering the word overlaps. And the problem with this thing is that there is no semantic relevance here, a semantic nature that we're like considering to actually account for the prediction accuracy of how good the model is predicting. So that is something that lacks with BLEU score, but I think it came around 2002 and giving like a numeric to represent the quality of the output generated by the model was very famous and it's widely used even now, but it is flawed in some sense. But there are new metrics that are coming up. You could also look at metrics like people convert sentences into embeddings and do the cosine similarity, the semantic similarity between two sentences. That would be a good case to judge sentences in that way. But if you look at it, it's only the word overlap that's being considered. Now, one more case or one more factor that you could consider is the order of the words. Now, that would also really make some sense in this case, because let's say the word like case was and was case are different, right? Because the order of the words are different. So we could also do one thing where we consider the order of the words. Well, in this way, what you would do is you would tweak the hyperparameter. Usually people go up to 4, and that's a good way to judge. So what you would do is that when you have a sentence like this, a test case was added. When you have sentences like this, sorry for that. And let's say this is a reference sentence. What you would do is that when your n-gram or the hyperparameter is set to 4, or it could be a 2 or 3 or whatever number you want, you would take 4 words. So it would make like 2 pairs, right? And then you would go on to calculate the overlaps, but this time only if the 4 words form an overlap. And that's how you calculate the BLEU score, and this is a way to add to the order of the words. And one more thing to consider is that when you're giving the score for the words in the prediction, let's say the test, and let's say in our prediction we have the test 2 times, usually what you would naturally go for is give it a score of 2, because there are like 2 matches, right? Like for the test in the reference, and that would make this particular number a 3. But that's not how we do it. This concept is called clipping. So what you do is, no matter how many words are there in the prediction for a particular word, let's say the word test, even though it's appearing twice in the predicted sentence, we would see the maximum number of times that it's appearing in the reference. That is 1 in this case. So for the word test, no matter how many overlaps are there, we're only allowed to give it a maximum score of 1. This way we prevent some edge cases from getting higher score, like some sentences that do not make sense that get high score. So the concept is called clipping. That is all about BLEU score. It is a precision based metric. There are other metrics like rogue variance and meteor. I'll be covering those in the next video. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please subscribe to AI Loop. I'll see you in the next video.